Okay, so we have Ernie here. We have a special treat with his GT350. He is the original owner, so go for it, Ernie. Tell us everything about this car.
Oh, you're talking about 40 some odd years of it. In there, basically, I had a '65 Mustang that I bought from Theodore Robbins Ford. When I saw with the new line coming out for the '67s, I worked my butt off after school and weekends so that I could afford to trade my Mustang in for this one. And what I found out was that when they were building these, California had these new laws. One was a small control pump, so that put the production back. Then they came out with a high beams had to be separated, so that put the production back. So when the salesman finally calls up and he says, "Ernie, your car's ready to be picked up," I did Flintstone feet down there looking for my car, and that's when I was told, we're going to go down to the plant where Carol Shelby's making them at LAX, and you get to drive your car back here to Theodore Robbins, and then we'll dealer prep it, and then you get to drive it home.
Wow.
But so I actually got to drive her out of the plant. I'd had her before I got married and had kids. Sat in the garage while I was raising the family and that. When I thought, well, when I retire, I'm going to put back on the road again and do car shows, mainly, charity and that. And
That's great.
Doing it now. In fact, this car, as you can see on the windshield, she went to Mexico City in 1974. That's a turista thing. And so the starter that's in the starter is actually a tractor starter. They blew a starter on the way down there. Found a town that had what I thought was a Ford dealership when I saw the Ford logo, but actually it was a farming community, and they had tractors and truck things there. But somehow, the Mexican technology, they figured out, they took the starter out, said, "No, we've got a tractor that has a starter." That starter's been working this car ever since.
Wow.
It's had a Paxton supercharger on her. Back then, it's from 65 through 67 if you had a 289. Carol Shelby had a kit, hold on, the supercharger.
Okay.
And so I put that on her, and it did just like they said. But when I had to redo the engine, I decided I'm going to go a little more horsepower and built the engine. And the evidence that I have from having a supercharger is that my power steering bracket, I didn't have one, but the supercharger bracket is still on there to show that's the only thing that would hold my supercharger, hold my power steering pump. On that, she's original. The driver.
The carpet's all original. Everything's all original.
See by the in there wheel. The 4-track player. It's an original 4-track. That's when the cassettes were considerably much wider, way before the 8-track came in.
Okay.
And
can you show us the headlights now? The configuration was the concern.
This is if you seen that movie Gone in 60 Seconds, the Eleanor had the high beams were in the middle. The high beams right here and here.
Okay.
But like I said, they were banned in California and I think 2 other states. So the California cars and the later production, actually they all went later production, the high beams are separate.
Okay.
But,
wow.
And that, Shelby did a great job with the fiberglass hood and extensions, and it just looked good to me at the time when I bought it. And I can make it dance if I want to. And it's old school, I can take it apart and put it back together.
Fabulous story.
Yeah.
As far as the color, it's...
That's same. Everything came out of the plant.
Wow. That's original paint?
No, I had to have it. It's been raced Class B production.
Oh, it was raced. Okay.
And one time I went into a chicane and locked up the front end and hit an embankment, so the left spindle and fender. And another time I had the rear quarter panel, so when I finally got the money and everything to do it, I did it. And there was only one guy. In fact, in Orange, the guy worked on Corvettes. Brother-in-law, he has nothing but Corvettes. And he referred me to him. We went over there, and the guy says, "I don't work on nothing but Corvettes."
Okay.
But when he saw that as much fiberglass was on there, he said, "You know what? This will be make an exception." Says, "I'll work on this car," and he was able to put that paint together just right so that it matches with the fiberglass.
Wow.
And that's the way Shelby came, and
Great story. You're the real deal.
Yeah.
Thank you very much,
You
Ernie.
bet.
Okay, we have Ben and his grandson, and we have a 1932
All steel Ford Roadster.
Ford Roadster. And tell us about it. There's a great story here.
It's a 5-year build. The first 3 with a builder in Indianapolis who everything I had. The second builder is in Wagner, Oklahoma, and he built 95% of the car in about 2 years. It was delivered to me on November 17th, and we've had it in a number of shows since then. But it's a street-driven roadster. It's titled, it's registered, it's licensed. We have a lot of fun with it, and we'll have a lot of fun with it.
So, what have you won so far? What is
The best one is the Pomona Grand National Roadster Show, Street Roadster Class, 2nd place. That's a real good win.
That's fabulous.
Because we're dealing with what I'll call trailer queens, cars that never get driven, in and out of a trailer, in and out of a warehouse. 10 guys show up to polish it before the show. We're just a family having a lot of fun with the car.
Can you tell us about special features of the car? Anything that you got?
It's the latest technology. Instead of a hard axle on the front and a hard differential axle, it's IFS on the front, which is independent front suspension by heights. The rear is independent rear suspension by heights. This car rides as smooth as a Lexus. Low profile tires. The rims are one of a kind, made by Circle Wheel, the only set in existence. A lot of polishing. The motor, I didn't want to have a small block Chevy like 99% of the other Roadsters. So I went with a crate engine by General Motors called a 502 Ramjet. It's been highly worked over, highly polished, with a 700 R4 transmission. Probably over 600 horsepower.
Okay.
All leather interior. The design was taken from another Roadster in the late 90s. I was an upholsterer in high school, and so when I saw the pictures of that car, I knew what I wanted 10 years later. And it has a top that comes out of this tulip. This cover is called a tulip. Has a dark blue top that sits behind the driver's seats. Glass side windows. The door is 3 inches bigger than a standard 32. 15-gallon gas tank. Gets probably 8 miles to a gallon. Probably. So we're just doing the last 5% of the mechanical and electrical issues with the car now at a great shop in Huntington Beach called Wheeler's Speed Shop. And he knows how to work the car, make it right, do things right. But we drive it. We've driven it to and from Riverside for a show out there a couple of weeks ago. A lot of chrome to get it ready for a show like next Saturday in Huntington Beach. We'll probably spend 40, 50 hours underneath and on top of the car polishing. The bottom of the car is as nice as the top. It's all polished aluminum, chrome, painted 9 coats, just like the top. So we'll keep it the best we can for as long as we can. But a show career of a car like this is probably 2 to 5 years at the most. You start getting problems, little dings, dents, and so for a top level of a show car, that's about the career.
Okay. And you're getting your grandson involved too, which is great.
He is involved. Tyler's my grandson. He goes to car shows. He puts up with it. He likes to ride in it though.
That's fun. You gotta get the next generation involved. So.
They are all involved. My son is the legal owner of the car
Okay.
in Huntington Beach, and he has a younger son called Nico who's been going to car shows ever since he was a baby.
Okay, great.
And so
Great.
the family, it's a family thing of car shows and kids' involvement.
Well, thank you very much, Ben. We've got friends from all over the world. They'll be looking at this.
That's
So.
fantastic.
Thank you.